Want some noodles?
Nope. No. Doesn't look like anybody's going to join me tonight.
All right, well, I'll join you when I go upstairs right now.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna get started anyways with episode or podcast number 340. Let me turn down the music, not the music, but the bass. We're setting up here. This is podcast number 3. A place for peace, growth, and prosperity. Of course, it is the PNGZ. Hashtag PNGZ. Welcome. I don't know who's watching, but I want to welcome you from around the world. I am Coach Santos here out of Stockton, Cali, founder of the Soldiers of Self-Mastery movement. I love saying this, the world's #1 problem gambling interventionist. I found the way to beat the system. I found the way to beat the system, so I'm sharing that with you guys. Whoever wants to beat the system. All right, well, this is your hour of power. This is your solution podcast, number 340. And this is for gamblers who can't quit. This is for gamblers who can't stop. This is for gamblers that are trying and they truly want out, but they haven't been able to. So this is the right place and you're at the right time. I don't know if Coach Jim is going to be with us tonight. I'm hoping to meet with those of you that are here with me by text, by way of LinkedIn, by way of Facebook, or YouTube. Looks like Jim's popping in the room today in a little bit here. And I'm getting ready to crank up the power here, man. I'm getting ready to crank up the power. We bought the boost. So we don't, at least from my end, you shouldn't see any more freeze ups, if you will. All right. So we're going to crank up. There it is. Performance. Yeah. So we've got power now. Hey, welcome, Jim. Let's give Jim a little warm welcome. And today we're just, hey, I'm looking for a nice chair. Thank you, man. I got a really good deal on this one today. A really good deal. You won't believe how this was a steal. Anyhow, but thank you, Dennis. So once again, podcast number 340. We are gathering here for peace, for growth, and for prosperity. And if you're a struggling gambler, listen, if you're on the other side and you're a struggling gambler and you can't quit, Jim, what do you say? This is
the place to be.
Right. This is the right place. You're at the right time. All the way from Tucson, Arizona. Let me turn down these speakers. Wow. This is okay. We're good. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah. Good evening, Santos. Hope you're doing well over in California. It's a beautiful day in Tucson. Kind of a warm day for a January. So looking forward to tonight's broadcast. You talked about tonight's broadcast. The topic is going to be.
Well, we're going to be. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you said the topic is going to be on using emotions to your advantage, right?
Figuring out. Yeah, well, anger, the emotion of anger. So we have a proverb. Yay! We have a proverb that's going to come out of, let me see. I read that this morning, but anyways, we'll look that up on the phone. So we got a proverb. And then we've got just a couple of questions here tonight. And I'm looking at NFL is rigged. I'm looking to see if there's any questions in the text, in the comments there by way of Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So, by the way, I hope that we don't have any freezing. If I do get freezing, if somebody's watching, like freeze frame, let me know. Please let me know. Well, I'll probably see it too. So we are going to talk a little bit about anger, right? Gamblers are way too distracted. I think we're all way too distracted. I realized that myself last week as I was just going back and forth on social media for a little bit. And I didn't like it. Honestly, I didn't like the fact that I knew I was being distracted. And I've been that way for a while. Yet I'm starting to notice it more. Imagine the gambler, how distracted the gambler is, or the person that has a severe problem. So you go ahead, Jim, chime in if you want. Hi,
Yeah.
Deborah. Hi, Eric. I didn't say hi to Eric. There's Eric. Yep. Eric says NFL is rigged. And Laura. And then, of course, there's Dennis, not the menace, all the way from Stockton, Cali. So, Wichita, Kansas. There we go. Thank you. By the way, if you have a question, feel free, please. Yeah, if you have a question, ask. I've got a proverb coming up. Go ahead, Jim. So we're talking about emotions and how we can use anger, right? Anger in particular. How can you use anger to draw fuel out of that, right? What are you
Yeah.
angry at? By the way, you got to identify where's that anger, right? Why are you so angry?
Yeah. I probably want to go ahead and take a look at the word anger. What is anger, really? I think anger is like it can be a violent emotion. It can be a violent emotion, and I believe anger can stem from frustration, and it could stem from not being in control, the feeling of not being in control. Now, when we're young, when we're not in control, we cry, you know, and as we grow older, some people replace that crying with screaming, I think, you know, rage, frustration, um, asking why in a loud voice. What's going on? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? You know, so I believe this particular kind of emotion does stem from a frustration of not being in control, and probably you're talking about um, how we can use anger, as a tool to benefit us is just becoming aware of our anger, you know, and finding out when we get angry and stop and ask ourselves, why are we getting angry? Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? Where is this loss of control coming from? Why do I feel out of control?
Yeah.
Maybe for the gambler or the person who's addicted, maybe they go over to, the casino or do a sports bet, trying to, get away from something, right? And they feel that this is my place of comfort. This is the place where I'm supposed to, lose all my worries. You lose all your money, right? And then it's like, I lost all my money. You get frustrated. Wait a minute, so that calm, that good feeling, the dopamine hits from the place that you're at, that casino. It just turns into confusion as you lose all your money. It's not fun anymore. Your wallet is empty, and just the
Yeah.
anger.
The gambler, obviously the gambler is way too distracted. So he has to, or she has to, identify the anger source. If you're going to put fuel in your tank to drive your car forward from Stockton to Arizona, you have to pull into the gas pump and you have to be able to take that fuel. You have to specifically drive your car to a pump. You got to pull it out, specifically put it in your tank. And that fuel, that specific fuel, you're not going to put diesel fuel if you're driving unleaded, I guess. That fuel will drive your vehicle. Doesn't matter what kind of a vehicle it is. It'll drive your vehicle from Stockton to Arizona, providing the helmsman, the driver, is in good condition. Does that make sense? if we somehow were to find the gambler finds that source of anger. Again, the distraction is in the way. And that's why I believe most gamblers fail, along with all the other stuff that comes along. I like to call them FTs, focus thieves, right? They are focus thieves, and they're all around you. Can you identify one or two FTs? You know, the FTs are very special too because they hit you emotionally. That's why you become distracted. Buck,
You know,
I can't break this thing. Buck, I can't. I'm using the word B. Buck, I can't break this thing. I just can't do it. I've been gambling 5 years now. I've lost all my savings. My savings is all gone. I don't have any more savings. I remember I had savings. There was a time where I could look at my bank account and I had at least $8,000 in there, or $10,000, or $40,000. There was a time that I could do that. There was a time that you could look at your bank account. I truly want to help somebody. That's why I'm creating this environment, Jim. And you're a part of this environment. Everybody's a part of this environment that's a part of the environment if you're present, right? If you're present, you can't do anything with yourself, with your life, with your finances if you're not going to be present.
You know, Santos, when we're talking about anger, uncontrollable emotions gets us into trouble. You know, when we're fearful, when we're angry, right? When we're maybe hungry, I don't know. It can get us into trouble, and sometimes I believe that the human being has a tendency to search for the easy escape. You know, the easy escape, and you know, when you're triggered at work or at home with a conflict with your family members or friends or coworkers or the boss or some guy on the road, you know, you get angry and frustrated, right? Where do we go? We might go to the victim mentality. It's like, why is this happening to me? You know, and what do we do? We try to, you know, calm our emotions down the best we can. Yeah. And you know, unfortunately, you know, where do we go? We go to our escape, right? To our addiction, to the casino, to the drugs, to the food, to the whatever, right? That will go ahead and take us away because, you know, it's like we're the victim. You know, we don't understand what's happening. I don't understand why this is happening to me. All I know is I don't like these feelings, these awful feelings. I'm frustrated. You know, I'm hurt. So I'm going to go and run away. I'm going to go to my safe place, right? And unfortunately, that could be the casino. That could be the gamble, right? That could be the alcohol. That could be the food. That could be whatever addiction it is. And, you know, and it's like, I think you talked about it last week. It's like it's a drug. It's like a medication. It's something that, that pacifies this kind of anger. But if we can become aware of this anger, understand, I mean, like, you can't escape anger. I don't think you can. It's difficult to escape anger, you know, but I think we can, become aware of our anger, why we're getting angry, say that we don't have to stay in this state. We can use it, right? We can use this anger to go and find out a little bit more about ourselves.
It's
right?
fuel.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a dangerous thing, right? If we don't have, control of our emotions, right, it could take us to bad places. It really can.
Well, yeah, just like, if you mishandle gasoline at the gas station, that wouldn't be you know what I mean? If you mishandle gasoline and you're at the gas station, and I'm talking about maybe you're doing something with a lighter or matches or something of that nature, that would not be a good uh, it could turn out to be a really bad experience. Put it that way. Anger is fuel. It's not gasoline, but it's typical to gasoline, right? Same thing. And we're using the anger. Actually, the anger might be fueling you to move in the wrong direction without you really knowing it because you're distracted. The FT's got you. You're in their prison.
You know, life is a refinement, Santos. Life is a real refinement of, you know, what we do, what we learn. And if you can go and refine your anger, in other words, you can go and say, you know, I've had it. I'm angry at this predicament that I got myself in. I don't want any more of it. You know, I'm sick and tired. I'm disgusted, right? I hate it. You know, and this is the very last time that I'm going to be dealing with this whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is good kind of anger right there, because it's kind of channeling a specific problem, right? That you are sick and tired of. And you're going to go ahead and make a decision right then and there, right? Like you said, it's that fuel, right? That fuel.
Yep. You learn to use your fuel. You take that fuel, you know, again, you can handle fuel improperly in life physically and it'll blow up. I remember these guys that tried to steal when I was younger. They tried to steal it was a mobile home thing or something. They tried to steal something in the mobile home, and when they went inside, they pulled it was natural gas.
Uh-oh.
They didn't turn it off. They didn't see, again, when it's like you're dealing with energy, fuel, it'll blow you up. Well, these guys blew up in there. They didn't die, but they blew up in there. So the fuel that you're using, that maybe your body, your emotions, right, your mind is using, we call addiction, that's being fueled. And you're angry, but that fuel is fueling you to do the wrong thing. But what if you could stop through all your distractions, right? That's the key there. The key is to be able to stop and think, or to stop and say the right thing to yourself, or to stop and meditate, right? The key of it is just to be able to stop and just assess, analyze. When you can do that with the anger that you have, you can begin to channel that anger and channel it away into something that's going to be productive. That's what we've been talking about here. Now, addressing this anger, again, we're in the middle of distractions. That's my goal. How do you do this? How in the world do you gotta create an oasis? There has to be a place, an environment that you create that maybe people can come through, right? If you can't create it yourself, you have to create an oasis of some kind. Like these freeways, they have all these stops, they're very good, right? These stops that they're out there.
You know, Santos, I was thinking about
rest stops, and you get respite, you get back on the road. Go ahead.
I was thinking about anger and frustration, and more and more I'm just realizing that the biggest problem is in the mirror, right? All my problems are right in the mirror, and you see that's pretty traumatic. And if you're dealing with kind of realizing that all the problems that are happening in my life is because of that person in the mirror, it's like, what do you do when you realize that person is that person? It's like it's me, and what does the natural response for a human being to do? It's like you can get depressed. You can go ahead and just become a victim. Say, I'm a victim of myself. I'm doomed, But if you can kind of forgive yourself, right? If you can forgive yourself, say, you know what, I make a lot of mistakes, but I can go ahead and create some good things too, right? I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I was able to do to overcome this traumatic feeling of understanding that we're all my problems, these negative emotions, all that's because of me. Once I kind of, say, you know what, I forgive myself, I accept myself, but I can go ahead and do better. I can do better. That's pretty powerful right there. If you want to understand anger and how to use your emotions, right? Where are these emotions coming from? I'm angry at myself. Yes, I'm angry at myself. What did I do? What can I learn from this? We don't have to stay in that anger, right, Santos? We can use it, and we can go ahead and use it as a springboard, right, to move in a better direction.
We're going to get into this a little bit deeper here. Let me read the proverb. Exactly. You know what? I consider this place right here, this podcast, this Enviro, I like to call it Enviro, a true blessing, because people can come in here and you can get something out of this. I don't care who you are, where you're from. I don't care what you're going through. We address problem gambling. I can assure you, if you pay attention and you're present, you'll walk out of this podcast with more than you thought that you could ever take out of. I guarantee you that, folks. And I'm making that as a truth here. I'm not saying that because I think me and Jim or somebody else is, no, we're all striving. Everybody in here has failure. You have failure. I have failure. Maybe I have more failure than you do because I expose myself more. It's okay. We're here. Be present. Acknowledge. I know Jim was acknowledge who you are. Acknowledge what you can. Acknowledge your anger. If you're angry, acknowledge it. At least maybe here you're not going to be too distracted, but at least we can help you focus on what's important. And 45 minutes is going to go by very quickly, by the way. Let me read the proverb. I got to get the proverb in there because I love the proverb. A proverb a day can help keep some sin away. I don't know. Somebody made that up. But it has got some truth to it, though. St. John 4:26. I got to read this one here. Oh, do I have the right one? I thought I did. Jeebers. All right, don't bust my chops. Hold on a minute. Go ahead, Jim, if you want to say something.
I think about those. I was thinking about
424. Okay.
What is it? Was it 7 stages of grief? We go through a lot of those kinds of emotions, right? Mm-hmm. When we get pushed into an addiction, a sadness, depression. I think, when in our situation, I think in the person who's addicted, the problem gambler who's addicted, mm-hmm. They find frustration, depression. They have all these negative emotions because they don't know what to do. They tried certain things, nothing works. They feel that they can't do it alone. Right? They tried, right? Maybe they're embarrassed or ashamed of their addiction and they can't seek help. And that can go ahead and bring you to, more and more negative emotions, and anger could be one of those kinds of deals. How do you reconcile that situation? The human, always tries to find, is grasping, looking around, for any kind of solution, right? To go ahead and take this pain away. Sometimes the pain, we're talking about work, it's like the only thing that can go out and solve a problem is just consistent work. And it's tough because you got to be patient and things don't happen right away, Mm-hmm. You can lose all your money real quick, but it takes time to go ahead and get yourself back on track. And in this, and we're inundated, we're bombarded with just instant gratification, quick fixes, in this society.
Yeah.
But the only way to solve our problem is to start doing that work. And, I was thinking about work. What is work? Work can be just thinking a certain way.
Exactly.
Changing your.
Hold on to that thought, Jim. Yeah, work doesn't have to be physical. Hold on to that. Let me get the proverb here in, and then we'll go back. I want to answer Deborah's question here. Thank you for asking, by the way. I really appreciate you, Deborah, for asking the question. And we're going to look at this because we are talking about anger. And anger, again, anger could be a very good thing if used effectively, or it could be very destructive. It'll burn you. Right? It'll destroy everything in its path It'll eat everything. Fire will. Fuel. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So God is a spirit. I like that. You know, spirit and truth. Key things in life. Spirit and truth. Key things. You know, I'm glad that you're here, Deborah. And regarding, you know, again, distractions are in the way. We all have them. I mean, do we believe first, or do we try to remove the distraction first? Key thing is that you're angry, and you can turn that anger into something useful for yourself when you can identify it, right? Right? Where can you drive it? Look at where you are angry. Look at it. Identify. We'll get a little bit more into this here. By the way, we got another 4 minutes here. I just want to say thank you for those of you, and then we'll get back into your thought, Jim. We'll get back into that thought. I want to say thank you for those of you that have purchased from the store. It helps out. It doesn't matter whether it's $2.99 or $15.99. It all helps out. So thank you for supporting this mission, because my job is to help support you. That's my job. Help support you, get you out of that place that you don't want to be in, if you allow me, because I can't do it by force. You have to allow me, right? We have to be willing to work together as a community. So I do want to thank you for that. And I'm going to ask those of you that are here, if you're not subscribed to this channel, you should subscribe. And when you can share a video or watch a video, watch it entire. Don't watch 2 minutes of it, because I'll tell you, you're wasting your time. If you're going to watch my video, a 5-minute video, and you go online and you watch 2 minutes of it, I have to be honest with you. You've just wasted your time. You need to watch the whole video, because what's more important is really what's at the end than what's in the beginning. So I just want to caution you on that, because I want to give you the very best. Okay? And I don't make 20-minute videos that much anymore. In fact, I don't make any long videos except for what we have here. So thank you for purchasing the book. If you've got the book, keep reading. Well, I read it. Read it again. Santos, I read it twice. Read it the third time. Read it the fourth time. It only takes about 30 minutes to really get through this book. But there's some good junk in here. Good junk. All right. There is some good junk. So thank you for doing that. Subscribing, sharing, caring, and leaving a comment, because I always respond. And below here, if you want more support, you want greater support, you want to dig deeper, you can go to Soldiers of Self-Mastery right below there, and there's going to be more coming. There's opportunity, folks. There's opportunity there. Opportunity. Go to the site, check it out. Some, you might be like the cow, right? Choose some, spit it out. Some you'll take in, some you'll. All right. So with that said, we'll go on. Go ahead, Jim, with your thought. And we want to make sure that we're addressing this question here.
Deborah was talking about being angry. Now, see, the problem with anger, you know, that it's a physical like feeling that's going on through your nervous system, you see. And that is it's difficult to try to rationalize or reason with your thinking brain. Okay, that's something that we have to be aware of. Just saying what we're saying is okay, but when we're in the heat of the moment, right? It's tough. And you know, my advice to Deborah is like you got to do something. You know, when you're in that state, that hyped up state of anger, you gotta like do something, like stop and maybe pray. You know, I made a mistake. Close your eyes, put your hands together. I made a mistake. But I forgive myself. I made a mistake. This is what I did. Take a walk, breathe. It's easy to say, but like I said, in order for us to get over these bad emotions, right? We have to go ahead and do that work in our mind and make a decision of what to do. And I'm hoping that Deborah and everyone else who listens to this, gains a little bit of information as a tool, so when you're in that situation, you can go ahead and think back to this video and say, you know what, do this. Close your eyes, go for a walk alone, put your hands together, pray, say a few kind words to yourself. You're not a bad person. You made a mistake, right? But you can get through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff. And once you move through that, you take that action, right? You're going to go ahead and feel that anger kind of subside. And now you have a little bit more of a clear head, right? Without this negative emotion flowing through your body, right? And then you can go ahead and start dissecting that situation. What happened? What caused me to go? What happened? What were the feelings that I had? Why did I do all this stuff? Where did it come from? And then you can start journaling, right? Then you can start taking some notes.
Yeah. Analyze. Once you start seeing through the fog, because the destruction is the fog, right? It's just the fog. Anybody here ever saw that movie, John Carpenter's The Fog?
The Pirates.
You ever see that? The fog came in. It was just everybody's bucked up, man. You know what I mean? I'm not using the word F. I'm using the word B. Bucked up. But that's what happens when the fog comes in. Then the fog would leave. And when the fog leaves, you see the aftermath. So we have to become very aware and in tune. By the way, I want to thank Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for allowing me to go live. There's been quite an audience here this Sunday, so thank you. And for all of you that are here in the chat, all of you that are here, and those of you that you're here, you're present. That kind of warms me. It makes me feel good inside because I know that you're listening. So I got distracted there for a minute. So I listened to the last episode every day this week. I will do the same with this episode. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to program yourself with something that's going to help you go in the right direction, one of my videos, one of my books, or some other video that you find, but I might be biased to my own stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know about everybody else's stuff. I just know about mine. So, but you have a choice. You have a free will out there, right? You can choose my book or you can choose Anthony Robbins' book. Anthony Robbins' book is like Chinese language a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't say Chinese language, but it's like hieroglyphics maybe. It's a big, thick book. Mine is a little one. So I can probably help you get there faster maybe. Or who knows, maybe Anthony Robbins might. Like I said, I'm biased to my stuff. So I believe in what I have because it's been working for me. So thank you. Thank you for that. And again, another thing is too, I appreciate you saying that, Deborah. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. But I would rather take one video. Let me see. I would rather take 3 videos and watch those 3 videos many times than watch a bunch of videos. That's just my observation. I seem to get more out of watching one video, a 5-minute or 7-minute video, 3 or 4 times. Even when I'm no longer paying attention to the video, you can play it in the background. You can play it in the background. Your subconscious picks up a lot of things that your your mind won't. Or did I say that correctly? Yeah, you'll pick up on hidden things. It's just the way your mind works. The more that you listen. And the more that you listen, guess what? The better you're going to get at listening. 2 birds with 1 stone. Go ahead. Let me see. I got it. Deborah, I hope we're answering your question. If there's more, again, the important thing is, identifying your anger, right? Identifying it. Because once you can see where it's at, then you can drive it. So you identify, you drive it. Jim was talking about taking time to stop, right? Stop, think. Um, and then this is cool because guess what you can do with that anger? You can get revenge, right? Now, I'm not talking about bad revenge, but what would you get revenge on? If you were so angry and you could get revenge on something right now, totally crush it, annihilate it, and it's gone, it's done, what would it be? You get revenge on that thing. I know I've gotten revenge on gambling. I've gotten my revenge on it. And I'm going to continue to get my revenge on it. Because gambling is like a person. It's like a snake. It's like a vehicle that you get in. And once you get in that vehicle, it's going to be very difficult for you to unbuckle your seatbelt because that thing is going very fast. And it's going to be hard for you to jump out. You want to jump out. Maybe you've even tried to jump out, but that thing is going way too fast. So something needs to stop that vehicle. Something or someone.
Yeah. Yeah. We're talking about work. A lot of people don't want to do that work, right? It's like I think I commented on one of your TikTok videos or the live streams. You're talking about how everything kind of gravitates to the negative, normal negative. I mean, the normal negative is going to the casino, the good feelings, the escapes. What's the easiest to do at the moment, right? And the work to go ahead and move yourself in the right direction. Sometimes there's not much motivation because it's like, well, maybe it won't accomplish anything, So I think it's very important for us to focus on the two words like belief and faith in the work, right? Belief, faith. We have to have some type of belief.
Yeah, whatever you focus on, you're gonna whatever you focus on strongly, you'll bring it into your life, whether you want it or not. Whatever you focus on strongly, and if you're not aware of what it is that you're focused on so strongly, it'll show up in your life. Whatever it is that is manifesting outside of your life, you may not be fully aware, but that's where your focus is. So once you can identify, then you can, oh, wait a minute. If this is showing up in my life, then somehow I'm focused on it. So that means I'm distracted. Wow. Man, I'm that far off that I'm not even aware that how far I'm distracted. Where's the focus thief?
The focus thief loves to live in that short period of time when you do the work and you don't quite reach your goal, right? And it's chattering in your ears saying, you see, it didn't work, right? What's the use? Don't do it anymore. You're wasting your time, right? And the only way to go ahead and move, be in that better place is to have the belief, that faith, that if I continue pounding at Santos's videos, keep watching these videos, keep reading his books, keep
putting in the work,
journeying every day, I believe, I have faith, that I can go ahead and get to that better place. We talked about this last week, stay in the moment, doing that work, right? Yeah. I mean, like the emotions are strong, and that flight to the comfort zone is very powerful, just like, and we don't have that faith in the work, probably because sometimes maybe we don't have confidence in ourselves, because we didn't get the immediate reward. I mean, it's like you get immediate rewards at the bottom of a bottle or at the casino, right? Or at McDonald's, right? The immediate reward right there. It's so fast, so simple, right? Why would I want to spend my time watching Santos's videos hour after hour? What's that going to do for me? I'm not getting any kind of reward, No. That's not the belief that we need to have. We need to kind of, create that new belief. It's like, this is what I believe.
You got to think different. You got to, yeah, because the same mind that got you to where you are now is obviously not the same mind that's going to get you to where you want to be or where you need to be. There has to be a change of mindset. There has to be a rewiring. There has to be more focus on the focus thieves, so that the focus thieves are not interceding. You know, they're not creating that fog, the John Carpenter's fog. And you're taking your fuel and you're pumping it, you're using it effectively.
You
Right?
know,
Revenge is not a bad word either. Somebody would say, well, you shouldn't use the word revenge. Revenge could be good. You can get revenge. Just about everything has an opposite side. Just like everything that you're doing has an opposite side. If you're struggling with gambling, there's an opposite side of that. If you're struggling with your finances and your money, there's an opposite side of that. Okay, well, you've lost everything. Well, there's an opposite side of that. But we're so caught up on one side, you know, again, we're distracted, man. Gamblers are way too distracted. And I'm using the word gambler because this is what we're all about here. But the word gambler is basically just another metaphor, right? It could be something else that you're gambling with, that you're struggling. And you're struggling with it. It's something that is it's tearing you, man. We all have problems, but if something is tearing at you, if it's tearing, then you need to stop the tear. Because again, it gets slippery, you know, and we've seen houses, we've seen those mudslides. That's kind of like our lives become, kind of like those houses on the mudslides. The property just little by little, and then it just goes boom, falls down, and it becomes nothing. It's all falling apart. The water of life and the storm of life take us away. Let me look. I'm going to look for, and I'm going to look for some questions here. If there's any, Jim, I like your perspective. This is my first podcast that I'm tuning into. I've watched Santos videos and they're great. Do you have a past issue with gambling, Jim?
Yeah, it's those the stocks and the cryptocurrencies. Unfortunately, you know that kind of stuff is pretty toxic. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, you know, when you're in fear and when you're in greed, you know, you think, oh my gosh, I'm missing out and I need to go and buy this stuff. You know, it's easy money. You know, I don't want to get left behind. Look at all these people making these great gains, right? And then you get your legs cut right underneath you, right? And you lose all your money, right? And it's like, oh gosh, I need to go and chase those losses. You know, it's like, let me go and jump in again, but then it goes down again, right?
Yeah.
And those kinds of feelings are just no good. And, you know, it's like you can get angry at E-Trade, you can get angry at Robinhood, you know, but really the problem was in the mirror, you know. And then you start looking at yourself as, my gosh, I'm a failure. I'm a loser. You know, whatever I do, I can't do right. You know, and then you get into some kind of depression, right?
Beat yourself
You know, you
down. Yep.
beat yourself down, right? You know, Santos, it's a fight. You know, like you know, the problems that we all have. You know, it's a fight. You know, and it's a fight against your old programming. And I like to go and think about, you know, a person who has a physical disability. You know, maybe I have a mental disability. You know, but it's the same thing. Some type of disability that I have acquired over the years of
Mhm.
wrong thinking, you know, wrong actions. And, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's like the better life, like I said this like last week, I think the better life's on the other side of the work, right? And I think that's the reason why I like exercise, you know, because exercise is kind of like kind of a metaphor for what's going on up here, because it's not, you know, all of a sudden you do a run, you do your sit-ups in one day, you lose like
Yeah.
10 pounds, 20 pounds, you know, it doesn't work that way. You got to go and do it again the next day. You got to watch what you eat. You got to keep going every day. But you know what? Little by little, you keep fighting. It doesn't feel good. You're in pain. You don't want to run. You don't want to exercise, right?
Yeah.
But you know that if I can get past that this day, you know, I'll be a better person. I'm going to go ahead and become a little bit stronger, you know, a little bit more fit. And that's the way we have to go and think about it in our mind, in our thinking. It's that extra work and that decision that we make, right? That's a lot of work. I mean, what are we fighting against? We're fighting against all that old programming of negative thinking, that negative self-talk. No, don't do that. You know what? You're going to go ahead and try to stop gambling or getting out of your addiction. Forget that. You tried it before. You tried it before. You lost. You can't do it. You can't do it. That kind of talk, right? You tried. And, the simple thing is just, oh, yeah, the simple thing is to give up, right? That's the simple thing. Go back. The normal negative, just pull you back down to your old self.
Yeah.
But, if you have one of those moments like Deborah, right? Use that anger. Like you said, use that anger. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. You look at yourself in the mirror. I'm sick and tired of all this nonsense, all this BS, And it's like, no more. I'm fed up, right? I am fed up. And that could be, that catalyst. We talked that spark, right? Using that energy inside you, that anger, right?
Yep.
And
turning it around and using it exactly.
But you got to have a plan, right, Santos? You got to have a plan. You
got to have a vision. You got to move it. Yeah, you got to have something you're moving towards. And then as you move, you can continue to build upon it. That's why a journal is the best. You can write in a journal. You can throw the pages out. You can scribble. You can make changes. But the more that you journal, the more that you begin to see clarity. You begin to see things that you didn't see before when you begin to write things down. You analyze. So journaling is again, it's a gift of God for all of us when we use it. All right. Deborah says it's a big fat lie. Dang, chasing those losses, it's what's hard to stop. Again, Deborah, what's really important, again, is how we are sounding, right? The way that you're sounding to yourself. When we're here, we're in a community, we're going to be a little bit more possibly cautious of what we say. When we're alone, that's a different story. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's where you need to say, as Jim said, you know what? Buck all this stuff. I'm tired, man. You know what? I'm done. I'm done losing. I'm embarrassed. I don't like walking into the bank and not having anything or having to account. I used to be embarrassed to walk up to the counters because they could see my stuff. They could see the money that I was taking out at the casino. They could see all the withdrawals and the payday loans. And I would go from bank to bank, dragging my anger all along until I said enough, right? Until I said enough is enough. I used that anger. I didn't know this. I didn't know that I was using the anger. I didn't know. All I knew was that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I did hit rock bottom. So that was kind of like a catapult for me. So it was a blessing. Yeah, I hit rock bottom. I lost just about everything. Just about everything I lost financially. I still think about a property that I basically gave away. A property, several acres, 3-bedroom house. It's painful. It's painful. And at times, I understand, Deborah, losses. Believe me, I understand losses. And it hurts. Yet, when you put in the work, like we've talked about, it shields you. It helps you kind of mount up on eagle's wings, if you will, during those times of turmoil. You got to put in the work. Coming here is a great opportunity. So I invite you, everybody else, to come here. We're going to be here again next Sunday, 7 p.m. And we do have a podcast coming up on Wednesday. My goal is to help more gamblers. If I can't help more gamblers, then I won't go live. I won't go live because I'm not going to waste. I won't waste your time and I won't waste my time. But we'll keep the Sunday podcast. And like I said, hopefully, if we see that there's individuals that really, really are being, I'm gonna go out of my way to do what I can without having the cost. But every time that I go live, it does cost. So that's why I always say, hey, if you can support this mission for me to go live and continue to do what we got to do, implement new strategies, bring in new tools, this is community. I know I can't do it by myself. So I appreciate everybody on here. And by the way, we're coming to the end here. I'm going to give Jim a few minutes here also, but I want to let you know that there's a 7-day challenge. I'm presenting a 7-day challenge for the next 7 days to all of you. If you're willing to accept my challenge, that you don't gamble for 7 days. Okay, I won't gamble for 7 days. But I issue the challenge. Take on this challenge. Maybe it's something else that you're doing that you don't want to do for 7 days. Take that challenge on. Take it on. See where your anger leads you and what comes out of it. What destination you're able to reach with your vehicle that has good fuel in it. So, and Wednesday, I believe we may be here Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on this YouTube channel with Coach Cephas and I. And of course, Jim's welcome to join us too. But I think it's more of an interview session between Coach Cephas and I. And we may end up bringing more guests and possibly doing some interviews. So if you want to get your story out there and you want to be a part of this community and you really want to help other gamblers, I'll tell you, you're going to help them by helping yourself, by getting yourself the mask on, making sure it's on nice and tight, and we can do that here. I promise to help you. Scouts honor, Navy veteran honor. I'll be here and I'll do my best for you. Because I got to keep myself out of the fire too, right? I'm no good for you guys if I'm in the fire. So I got to keep myself out of the fire. Deborah says, amen. Barry, Bob, welcome. Good to see you here. We love you both. Thank you for hanging out here. We're coming to the end of the broadcast. So I've already given my call to action. Basically, I've already given my call to action. I've said enough. I know when I need to shut up. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate all you guys too. Appreciate every one of you guys. Everyone. Look right in the camera and accept my appreciation, because I do appreciate each and every one of you that are here, especially if you're present. That includes Jim. All right. Go ahead, Jim. Your last words, man.
Yeah, I mean, like whatever emotion that you're struggling with, whether it be anger, sadness, anxiety, take that extra effort, ask, where it's coming from, and make a decision on what you can go ahead and do at that moment to make your tomorrow better. We can always do something, right, in that moment, and it can lead you to momentary pleasure at that moment, with a destructive tomorrow, right? And compare, right? If you're angry, frustrated, sad, if I go to the casino or I take a quiet walk and journal, what will give me a better tomorrow? You know what I mean? What will give me a better tomorrow? Just thinking that, taking that little extra effort, to go ahead and think, what will give me a better tomorrow, right? And be aware of your emotions, be aware of that anger, understand that it's not always going to be with you, forgive yourself, and do the extra work to think what's the best direction for your life.
Thank you, Jim. And to answer John's, we've already given the advice, but I want to give you some special advice, John. I don't know your situation. I don't know what kind of a vehicle you live in, whether it's a van or a Toyota. Again, what would I say? What would I do if I was in a car? Well, number one, temporarily make it comfortable, right? If you're there for a little bit, you might as well make it comfortable. Get what you need. Get what you need. You don't plan on staying there. You got to get that mindset in you. You don't plan on staying there. You got to get yourself a journal or a book. I would recommend the Bible and begin writing down exactly where you want to go from that car. Write it out. Because I'll tell you this, because if you can't write it out, you're not going to get there. Or if you do get there, it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a very hard, treacherous journey. You write it down, you release anger, you release shame, you release frustration onto the pages, and you take that anger that we've talked about and you start using it as fuel to move you out of your homelessness or your car. Now, there are other options for you. You can get resources. There are places where you can go, and there's places that you can live. I've been homeless twice. Okay, so I can tell you from fact, you can be off the streets if you want to. Some of those places aren't the nicest places, but it may do for a day or a week or whatever. You got to protect yourself while you're out there. You got to really keep an eye on you. Get some pepper spray. Keep a bottle of pepper spray or two with you, or a fire extinguisher, and a bright flashlight. Never know when you might need those things. Somebody else might say get a gun, get a pellet gun, get whatever you need. Whatever you need to get in order for you to protect yourself in the moment. Somebody comes knocking at your window, you don't know where you're at. I don't know your situation. I hope that helps in some way. I'm sure you're a smart person. Just because you're in a car doesn't make you any less smarter. You just got to figure out from there, as we've talked about, as Jim and I have talked about on this podcast. You got to move from where you are, right? Move, believe, possible, put in the work, and move forward. Hope that helps. Thank you guys for everything, and I will see you at the top on the inside on my next one. And remember, your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Santos. You have a great week. I'll see you on next week. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. Gunson, Manning, John, Deborah, Laura, Dennis, Barry, Mark, K6, out of time. Gunson. Who else was with us? And those of you that were, thank you for the donations. Those of you that were on live, but you weren't in the text. I'll see you at the top of the next one. Peace and strength.